up, beautiful souls? It's Dr. Lee here, and I'm actually super excited to invite you to what for me has been the safest, most consistent, most powerful way to connect with your multi-dimensional self in a safe retreat setting. I'm telling you guys, the ceremonies are getting more and more powerful. People are being liberated. Souls are starting to remember who they are. Families are being healed. And this is one of my greatest joys to offer this to whoever feels called. It's a sacred contract that I call the Heart Protocol. It's a 4 to 6 hour ceremonial experience in a retreat setting where you can connect to your higher self and you can record it into a recording if you decide to speak, and bring back a multi-dimensional soul transcript which can help catalyze you onto a higher timeline, into a higher frequency, and ultimately a higher destiny. For those who feel the call, check out www.transcendencementalhealth.com and click begin your journey to schedule a free 15-minute call to see if you are a good fit for the Heart Protocol. Unite an army of love, create heaven on earth. If you feel the call, would love to see you at an upcoming retreat. Peace. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist Podcast. Before we begin, wanted to set the frequency today before we jump into the title, or the topic today is how to know your purpose. So by the love of original eternal source consciousness field, we have come. We set a barrier now around this podcast. All those listening on the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual plane, the frequency of love. We ask only those beings who have the best interest in mind for each and every single person to join us now. We ask all other beings to exit now. By the truth of original eternal source consciousness field we stand. We open up our throat chakras to speak our truth, for the truth will set us free, and we are free indeed. We welcome in the frequency of truth. By the power of original eternal source consciousness field we fly. We step into our power now for such an important inflection point in humanity's history. Mother Earth is crying out for her true sons and daughters to be born and to step into their power unapologetically ourselves. By the way of original eternal source go I. By the grace of original eternal source consciousness field, always grace in all 75 trillion one of my cells, vibrating, oscillating grace. May we have grace for one another and grace for each other. We are alive because of this amazing frequency of amazing grace. I now sanctify and renew this podcast episode. It's under the divine protector of the original eternal life founders races, Melchizedek, Cloister, Emerald, Amethyst, and Gold Order, for the liberation of all sentient beings, and for the highest good, joy, and abundance of each and every single person who may be tuning in this lifetime and in the one to come. We give gratitude in advance. Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe. Spoken as it is stated now, and so it is done. Rasha, your Christ star. Surround this episode now. All right, beautiful souls. So I hear this word thrown around a lot. What is my purpose? And so I wanted to take a deep dive into this topic because everybody wants to know their sacred why. Why am I here? The three great questions. Who am I? Well, why am I here? And the sacred why is so important, as we discussed in previous podcasts. When someone knows their sacred why, the what becomes easy. Let me repeat that. When somebody is so sure and ingrained and entrained into their purpose, their sacred why, their reason for existing, when you know your why, the what becomes easy. Oh, I'm here to do this workout, but it's because of this love that I have for my physical body, this love that I have for feeling good. This is my sacred why, and this is my career, whatever your sacred why is. Once we become clear about our sacred why, how to do it is just a byproduct of understanding our purpose or our sacred why. So it's really important to start understanding why we are here. Who are we? Why are we here? And what are we here to do? And so I wanted to take a little bit of time. And, I've seen literally as a psychiatrist working in LA, for 7 years or more than that, like literally people would come in and if they don't know their why, they're lost. They have no reason for existing. They do not have a meaning behind their existence. And I promise you that we all have deep meaning, a sacred why, a reason for existing. And generally speaking, the greatest advice I've ever received is to simply be you, to be authentically you. Because right now, out of all 8 billion people on this planet and all other universes and all other galaxies, there is no one who is better at being you than you. Your unique signature, your unique reflection of source, your unique vibratory, oscillatory reflection, all of your past lives combined and all of your thoughts, words, and attitudes and choices that you've made create in this moment a unique vibratory signature of Almighty Living Creator Source is what you are and who we are, and I am because we are Bhavantu. And so this unique signature and frequency, which is accumulation, a base pulse rhythm of all of your previous past lives, incarnations existing as source with all of your thoughts, words, and attitudes existing right now, is a unique signature and frequency and reflection of source. And so our purpose is to simply be that frequency, which is unique. Well, in order to be that frequency, however, we have to unlearn everything that we've been taught of who we should be. Programming. So when a child is actually born into Earth, make no mistake about it, it's a choice. There's no force in source. For there to be love, there must be a choice. If there's no love, it's not a choice, it's force. A big guy on a Harley, little girl in the back, and says, if you leave me, I'm going to do this to you. Well, that's not love, that's fear. Because there's no choice there. So if God, if source is love, it honors and respects free will choice, because that is the essence of love. And so from that essence, some people in my heart protocol ceremonies, actually they pop out and they're able to take their consciousness to a space and time location where they remember choosing to be born. And there's a really cool depiction. Charles Eisenstein made an animation about this where people agree, this tribe of, and you come from an entity, which is a large bunch of energy, like an ocean of energy, sending a little piece in through free will choice, coming through the primal sound and primal light, coming through dimensions 15, 14, 13, 12, all the way down into this third dimensional construct as a free will choice. And there's a contract that's made when one chooses to be born on Earth. And that contract is, I choose to abide by the laws of this planet that I chose to go to, called Earth. And so there's these contracts that we make, and we choose to forget everything of our soul origins, where we come from, all of our past experiences. When we're born, we choose to allow ourselves to forget, so that we know that we're going to have the joy of remembering when we remember who we are. And so, but there's a deep purpose of choosing to come to Earth, and it's to answer the one question that Source had. It all started with a question: who am I? Source wanted to know itself. Imagine just existing just by yourself. And so through this desire this desire to experience itself in many ways, it had to separate itself, the first great trauma, into many, many. God said that there'd be like all these different universes and galaxies simultaneously, and planet Earth is one of those planets, and we choose to be born to answer the question, who am I? So on a very esoteric, metaphysical level, your purpose is to fulfill the original intention of Source, to know itself better through your unique signature, through all of your explorations and experiences. We are a unique record living book of Source, and eventually the purpose is to bring back that record of whatever it is we learned through our human experience. So for this great love of Source to know itself better, to bring back that knowledge into the record books, to expand the knowledge of the one, and to answer the question, who am I? Source. And so on a metaphysical level, that is the intention, or your sacred why, to have these experiences, to create a unique life where you learn more and more through your experiences with other people, through your unique experiences, to learn more and more about your unique signature and frequency and reflection of Source, and then to bring back that living record book to expand the knowledge of the one, to fulfill the original intention of Source. So on a metaphysical level, we all can say that is our purpose. I am Source existing to know itself better through my unique experience as a human being. Now, I want to take it a little bit more specific. So that's like on a grand scale, right? And Earth is in this really important inflection point where Source is a return cycle of Source. There's going to be those people who choose not to return, and there's going to be those people who choose to embody their soul over soul and come back to Source's source wholeness. So it's this unique reflection point, inflection point in humanity's history. With that being said, there's kind of a more specific, as that entity or energy or spirit starts descending down into Earth, the fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded DNA, which Freud called your superconscious mind, is a bandwidth of frequency, is your superconscious mind. It holds a soul purpose. So when one soul comes in, there's a group, the 12 apostles, the 12 knights, the 12. One soul through electromagnetic fission becomes 12 on different timelines. And so simultaneously existing on different timelines, there is a soul purpose. And when you start activating your fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded DNA, your reason for incarnating as a soul together will start being revealed. So there's not, and then the soul splits. There is also an individual purpose. So there's an individual sacred why, what we're here to do individually. But then once you are able to kind of go into a higher frequency of soul family, there's also a soul purpose that the group of incarnation 12 have as well. So there's deep purpose. We have deep purpose. And one of those purposes is just to experience God, making love of God, to have different experiences and to learn and to bring back this record. But then there comes the individual experience. Now, when that soul comes in, splits itself into 12 and comes into a body, a physical body, even that is a choice, choosing this perfect set of conditions, the certain date that's going to be born. There's so much intelligence to the universe is mathematical on why the soul chooses a certain womb, a certain family, a certain karma, because it wants to experience a certain type of experience in this lifetime, and all of the planets are conspiring for that purpose to be fulfilled. Like if you're born on a certain astrological date, the planetary influences are perfectly aligned for that soul to be able to fulfill its original intention. Now, when we're born, we forget. We choose to forget. And the key ages are from the ages of 0 to 7. And from the ages of 0 to 7, the baby is in a continuous state of a brainwave state, whether it's theta or delta, right in between there, where their subconscious mind is wide open. So they've forgotten who they are, and now they're here. And during that time, through mirror neurons, they're mirroring their parents, they're mirroring society, their environment. And not only that, 7 to 11 generations of beautiful ancestral knowledge and beautiful ancestral memory, but also 7 to 11 generations of trauma and karma is passed on into that incarnating baby. And so the baby is already born with intergenerational trauma. That's why Holocaust survivors, their children, remember their trauma, right? It's inside of them. Trauma and karma is a low polarized frequency that lives in the body. Therefore, the book was written, The Body Keeps the Score. So this child is already born with 7 to 11 generations, and then through mirroring society and mirroring their parents, now they're becoming programmed, because in order for a child to thrive and live, it needs what is called love. It needs, to be held. It needs to be fed. It needs, all of these different things that a child needs. And so it starts developing programming from the ages of 0 to 7. It's downloading programs, tell, lie, vision, programming. Oh, in order for me to, receive love from my dad, I have to be perfect. That's the only time he gives me love, when I get 100 on my test. If I got a 97, I'm spanking. Oh, I have to go to church in order to get love from my mom. If I don't go to church, that's when she gives me love. And so this little infant child starts adopting different programming and patterns of how it receives love in the world, because it needs that love so desperately in order to thrive. And if a certain child doesn't receive that love it needs, then it starts developing behaviors such as, oh, I need to pathologically lie. I need to tell people that I have all these different things, that I own all these different things, that I'm a black belt in martial arts, that I'm a billionaire. And they start developing this lie, which is not themselves, behaviors to sacrifice their authenticity in order to receive the love that they so desperately need. Because when I tell someone I'm a billionaire, oh, they're going to give me this superficial love. And even though that's not really true, I need that superficial love in order to grow, in order to thrive, in order to feel love. Because it's a lack of connection, isolation, that this inner child so desperately needs this connection. As human beings, we need that. When we connect with another human being, and from infancy, literally, we're programmed that to need connection. Literally, when the mother is giving birth, oxytocin, the love hormone, is being released, and that intimate bond between the mother, when they're breastfeeding, this oxytocin, this connection is being fed, and oxytocin balances serotonin and dopamine, which tells signals to the body that I'm content, I'm okay, I'm safe. And so this love hormone connection is so desperately needed that the children start downloading programs. Oh, when I'm like this in school, I get love from my friends. Oh, I'm like this. And they start developing all these different programs and conditionings. And their brain is literally like an app store phone on an iPhone. They're downloading all of these different apps of patterns of how they receive love. And then, like programs such as, oh, my parents were poor, and I saw them fighting and struggling over money, so I have to be rich in order to not make that happen. So they're downloading all of these programs and apps. And what happens, in fact, by the time they're 35 years old, Dr. Joe Dispenza writes that 95% of everything anyone does is actually subconscious programming. It's not even a choice. They're just running on programming. Someone cuts them off. I've been programmed. If someone cuts me off, I should get angry. I'm going to give them the bird. I'm going to get angry. That wasn't a response. It was a programmed reaction. And so by the age of 35, 95% of what everybody is doing is programming, because of what happened from the ages of 0 to 7, as well as the past life karma, as well as the past life trauma. And it all lives within the subconscious mind, which is in the body. And so by the time we get to a certain age, if the higher self signals through intention, so even right now, let's just say, okay, let's just say there's people who are still in the matrix and they want to wake up. They can signal to their higher self. They can signal through intention, through their words, through their intentional frequency, which is a magnetic frequency existing between matter. They can say, I want to wake up. God, where are you? I want to know if you're real. And just through that one word, the higher self is now given permission to start waking the person up. Now, usually, everybody's different how they wake up, but there can be this big, grand kind of thunderstorm experience, like a huge plant medicine ceremony, or or it can be as simple as, you're just laying in bed. All of a sudden, you have this experience where you're waking up and you realize everything's connected. A slow sunrise waking up experience. But this experience comes where it starts to realize everything that I've been told might not actually be true. And there's an awakening that happens, and you start understanding, oh, there's a matrix. It's a programmed society. And you start waking up. And when that happens, then this entire process to try to discover your purpose. And even to that day, when you wake up, you might be asking, who am I? Why am I here? And people are confused. And then you can even get to the point where it's like, it's all meaningless. There's no meaning. It's just like a video game. It's a simulation. Why are we even here? And if you don't know your sacred why, that can spiral into depression, paranoia, suicide even, because there's no sacred why. There's no reason for existing. And I'm here to say that actually our unique reason, our unique sacred why is simply to be you. But in order to be that unique signature and frequency, we have to unlearn everything that we've been taught we should be and deprogram all of the parental societal, programming that we adopted and downloaded from the ages of 0 to 7. Now, what happens to an iPhone, right, when it has 1,000 apps running in the background simultaneously? They're not closed. They're still running. Well, the iPhones, remember, it starts becoming very slow and not functioning very well. That website takes forever to load, right? We get slowed down and bogged down by these programs which we adopted from the ages of 0 to 7. It's almost like 1,000 apps running at the same time. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, you should do this, you should do that, you're not doing enough, you're not enough. And what happens to the mind, because the mind is like an iPhone, when it has 1,000 apps, the mind is so noisy, it's always constantly being pulled in all these different directions. And that person is not able to exist simply as themselves, because all of these things that their mind, their iPhone, the apps they downloaded are telling them that they should do or who they should be. And so usually the journey will lead to, there's a great book during this stage called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And it's really about how to quiet your mind, because you are not your mind. Consciousness is a creation of, the mind is a creation of consciousness. You are consciousness, loving awareness. And that is who we are, because thoughts come and go. Emotions come and go. Feelings come and go. But who's the one who's always there? I am that. So we're not our thoughts. And 99% of all psychiatric problems are people who identify with the programming, their thoughts, as if that's who they are. But thoughts come and go. And so we come to this place where we eventually have to learn how to deprogram all of the programs we learned from ages of 0 to 7, as well as clear out the karma, 7 to 11 generations of karma and trauma that we adopted from society, that we adopted from our parents in the DNA. Because that is not who we are. We are not the trauma. We are not the karma. We are not the programming. What's up, beautiful souls? I want to shout out to the sponsor of this podcast, Practical Peptides, www.practicalpeptides.com. Unless you're living under a rock, you might have heard that there is this thing called peptides, the magic of peptides. And so they're amino acid chain proteins which help signal to the body, which can start activating like a light switch different systems in your body. And we're having amazing results. Now, you may have heard there's positive and negatives to everything, but there's certain people who are having certain side effects. And what our team has found is it's because most doctors are prescribing too large of a dose. But when you dose and you titrate up at the right dose, we're finding that people are having really positive effects. So some of our best sellers include GLP-1 agonists like tirzepatide, like semaglutide, and people at the right dose, when they use the right small dose and they're titrating up, they're literally not only losing approximately 15% of their body weight over time, they're increasing their self-esteem. It's helping people reverse their diabetes, blood sugar. And the cool news is that you can schedule a call with Danielle, who's a peptide expert on our team, who can help decide if it's right for you, also what the right dose is. And the cool thing about Practical Peptides is our team has spent so much time and love and energy. So it's really easy. You just go to practicalpeptides.com, you search for the product that's right for you. One of my favorites is NAD, intramuscular NAD. If you guys don't know, NAD is reversing brain inflammation, helping the gut heal. And not only that, for me, it gives me clean energy every morning when I take it. So NAD is on there from a pure. And the cool thing about Practical Peptides is it's straight from the pharmacy. It's compound grade pharmacy, pure material. And you can order it directly online. And it's delivered straight to your house. And you're getting everything that you need is included in the package, so you can start using it straight out of the box. And we give you educational materials. So some of these peptide companies that are research based, you don't know what's in the product. They're not giving you the educational material. We're giving you you don't have to mix it and compound. It's right there. And so if that's something that appeals to you, check out www.practicalpeptides.com. Use the code Dr. Lee for 10% off. There's peptides that can help you get ripped and shredded. There's peptides that can help you repair your body from injury. So check it out, www.practicalpeptides.com. And so often at these times, a great entryway into this is to learn how to breathe. The mind will follow the breath, or the breath will follow the mind. In the beginning, God breathed into man the breath of life. The Hebrew word for that breath, ruah Elohim, is spirit, and that is who we are. And that's why Buddha sat under a tree and he watched his breath up and down. Thought would come, rapid in awareness, let it go, back to the breath. Thought would come, rapid in awareness, let it go, back to the breath. And eventually, focusing on the breath, the mind started following the inflow and steady outflow of the breath. And you can do this with meditation. You can do this with yoga. For me, it was doing 30 days of yoga in a row. And at the end of yoga class, while I was breathing and moving at the same time, I would feel this peace. And that is who I am. And I would be like, wow, I can have this space where my mind is quiet. I'm just being. And that is my purpose, to be me. And then, so at that point, then it was like, okay, cool. I started to learn how to breathe in for 4, out for 8, and I practiced this religiously. So that was a great way to quiet the mind and come into the state of being. And sometimes the flow state, when I'm just being, would get longer and longer, and synchronicities would start happening. So the universe starts rewarding you. Everything that is meant to find you when we're just being will find you. Everything that's meant to find you when we're just being ourselves will find you. Everything. And so at that point, though, then we have to clear out everything that's not ours, which is not the programming, conditioning, right? And so one by one, as you watch the program, you wrap it in awareness, you let it go, you're not feeding it anymore. You come back, you unplug from television programming, you unplug from the friends that are toxic, you start unplugging from all these different sources that are programming, and you learn how to breathe, and then you wrap it in awareness, let it go. And as the more and more you're able to witness and observe the program without fighting it, without getting mad at it, but witness it and let it go, then more and more you're deprogramming it, defragging your brain. But that then you have to then start the 7 to 11 generations of trauma and karma that live in the body, right? Depolarized frequency. And so what really helped me during this time was breath work, holotropic breath work. You want to call it transformational breath work. I know there's awakened breath work, pyramid breath work, so many different types of breath work that are arising. And at the end of the day, honestly, they're just copying breath that has been around for a long time. And the key about this is when you start breathing, through whatever breath it is, that a lot of these yoga studios will have 45 to 60-minute breathwork sessions now. And breathwork is becoming popular. There's also online breathwork with Michael Stone, right? And you start breathing for 30, 45 minutes, high frequency prana, living energy, life force, which is a high frequency, starts going into the body. The oxygen to carbon dioxide ratio changes, and oftentimes higher oscillation entrains lower vibration. So those 7 to 11 generations of trauma that live in the body, when you're breathing in this high frequency, higher oscillation will, it will either transmute it or release the trauma or release the karma. Sometimes you'll be very aware of what is being released, sometimes you won't. And so I used to religiously go to these beautiful breathwork sessions for a long period of time to start really becoming who I really am and releasing the societal karma that I was born into. Being Korean, there's that. Just by being Korean, there's cultural karma. There's all these different things, conditioning and karma and trauma, that I had to start clearing out. Religious karma, religious trauma that we have been programmed with, right? And you start to clear these things out. And so these long breathwork sessions can be very, 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 very helpful. Transformational breath, and I'm going to start an online community where we're going to be doing breath work together, clearing out this karma, clearing out this trauma. Stay tuned for that. We're also going to be doing 12-strand DNA activation, live activations on there. I'm going to be, for whoever feels called, man, I'm really excited about this because of what this program has, 12-strand DNA activation, has done for me. It's going to be fun to share that in an online community. With that being said, after you start clearing out the trauma and the karma through whatever modality that you find, then you can start remembering who you are. And a lot of this, you can do through meditation, right? So oftentimes you are a soul, and in the intron potential, DNA scientists used to call junk through sound and light. So a lot of these yoga studios have sound frequencies, sound baths. There's also, on your Spotify, solfeggio frequencies. There's all different types of amazing sound that could start really corresponding and communicating with the intron potential DNA and starting to reactivate. Remember that we are a soul, that we are eternal, that death is not real, that I am that I am. And once we start remembering this, once you know, you cannot not know. And one of the most powerful, safe, potent, and safe and consistent, powerful ways that I've learned how to help people remember who they are is through a sacred medicine ceremony called the Heart Protocol, which, we're going to start training facilitators. And it's a very safe, consistent, powerful way to reactivate or help someone remember that they are multi-dimensional, that they are eternal, that they are worthy, that they are love, and that is who we are. And so the programming conditioning starts being stripped away. We start to learn whenever the mind starts popping up again and again and again, telling us you should do this, you should do that. We start quieting the mind through all of the tools that we've acquired: meditation, psychedelic ceremonies, breath work, cold plunges, and then we can instantaneously eventually learn how to drop into different brainwave states, right? And then that becomes the fun because we've remembered who we are. We've forgotten who we were when we were born. Now we have the joy of remembering who we are. We are source. We are eternal. Death is not real. I am that I am. And once we remember, then we start meeting our soul family. And we start remembering that, we're stronger together. We remember, and that we can do more together. And we start forming tribe, and we start forming these beautiful communities, and we start helping each other out. And then no matter what spiritual path that you take, at the end of all spiritual paths, it is about service. And so that is who we are. We are source, a unique vibratory reflection of source. And then somehow, through using your creative gifts that you've learned along the way, that you've developed on the way, which is literally, you are the creation, you are the creator, it is you. To be you is your purpose. But then you can take that one step further by using your creative gift, whether it's music, whether it's making things with your hands, whether it's selling things on Etsy, whether it's forming an online community, whatever it is, forming a school account online, teaching what it is you learned through your journey, and whatever tools that were used to help you wake up, then it becomes the greatest, most epic love story ever, where you utilize your creative tools and skills and talents that you've picked up along the way in your unique journey to then help other people. And every step that we've taken previously has been preparing us for this. For example, for me, I allowed myself to go through every single psychiatric condition, and I acquired the tools. So when someone comes to me, first of all, I can speak from my heart that, hey, this is what helped me when I was going through depression. This is what helped me when I was going through mania. This is what helped me when I was going through paranoid schizophrenia. And you utilize these gifts then to serve humanity. And that is our purpose, is to love one another. Love yourself first by first in the morning, filling yourself up with source, the source of all love, the source of all wisdom, the source of all joy, and then using that creative talent to then serve other people. Because it's impossible to help someone else without helping yourself. And that fulfills the original intention of source. Who am I? God making love with God, sacred energy exchange. And then once we remember, we help others remember. And that becomes your purpose, service. And our service is a noun. It's not a verb. Our service is a state of being, a unique oscillatory, vibratory signature reflection of source. That is my service, to be me. But then I can take that a step further and utilize these gifts to serve other people through a creative endeavor and have fun doing it, because that was the original intention of source, to enjoy the process, to enjoy the process of remembering, gathering the tools, then utilizing those tools and your unique story, reflection of source, your unique signature, and whatever you learned along there, to share that with other people, to help other people wake up. Then you'll meet your soul family. Then you'll remember, oh, the when we're together, that's more powerful than together as a soul, as a tribe. You'll start serving together with other people, and that's always beautiful and fun as well. So at the end of the day, what is my purpose? What is our purpose? Is to be you. But in order to be you, you have to unlearn all of the programming conditioning that we've been taught we should be, and clear out the 7 to 11 generations of trauma and karma. Then be that signature, that unique frequency. That is the purpose. That is more than enough. Just being you, you are worthy of everything you desire. Just because we are existing as source, there's nothing we can do to earn that love. We are that love, and nothing can separate us from that love. And we're just about getting rid of the cobwebs, the programs, the conditioning, the trauma that we've been taught which is not us, which is not ours. And once we do that, we come into this pure state of consciousness, of awareness, of loving awareness, and we can say, I am that. I am that I am. And then eventually we start realizing, meeting our soul family and 12 souls, literally the same way we came down through electromagnetic fission, is the same way love connects it all together. When we love each other enough through sacred plant medicine, I just had the experience where one soul, 12 different individual souls merged into one collective and ascended. And that happened. And when one group figures it out, it's available for everybody else. So that is our purpose, to bring back that living record book, to ascend together, to clear out the trauma, karma, to be you, and to bring back that living frequency, that unique record book that only you hold, back into the record book of source, and expand the knowledge of the one. So be you, be true to you, be you, authentically you, unapologetically you, and I am me, and Bhavan too. I am, because we are all one. And that is our purpose, to exist as that, as the I am presence, and to expand the knowledge of the one, and to have fun doing it. So I pray for everybody who is listening to this podcast episode, wherever they may be, avalanches of God's love, joy, and abundance is pouring in and circulating in all of our lives. Joy, abundance, and love, and meaningful relationships are pouring and circulating and flooding into our lives. All of our goals, needs, and desires are met instantaneously by divine infinite intelligence, and we give thanks in advance, for we are one with God. God is one with all. Thy kingdom come. Thy will is now being done on earth as it is in the highest heavens. Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe. Spoken as it is stated, so it is done. Rasha Ira Christ Star. Now. Love you, beautiful souls. If you feel the call, would love to see you at our upcoming Heart Protocol retreat, www.transcendencementalhealth.com. Love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Peace.